All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Breakfast with the Babies here at Redshores Racetrack and Casino overlooking the legendary Charlottetown Driving Park. We have our first set of horses. They're going through training sets here this morning. You're with Lee Drake along with Peter McPhee and Kurt Hughes. And guys, the first set this morning, some trotters. You see them on the backstretch there now. And they're going to be turning and going their training set here this morning with Breakfast with the Babies. We do have three of them. And Kurt, nice to see this, and Peter, nice to see this back. This is a great way to get a good look at the hard work that's been done through the winter months.
Absolutely. A good look at the early look at the babies, and it's great for the owners to come out and see their babies under the spotlight, even though it is a little early still. It's a nice way to get a good look at them early, and you're going to get a good look at their gait, going to get a good look whether they like moving forward or not, and it's usually a telltale sign on whether they're going to be successful later on.
It looks like they're getting ready here, Kurt. 1, 2, and 3. So the one is Bless Me Father here. That's Daryl Neal this morning. Supreme Rocket for Glenn Dunn, and Ocean View Nicky for Mike McGuigan. And Kurt, this is Mike's crew, I think, right out of his barn.
Yeah, this is the Mike McGuigan stable, and Bless Me Father by Father Patrick. We all know he's a great sire, and sired the likes of Green Shoe, and Amigo Volo is actually pretty similar bloodlines to Bless Me Father here. It's a Father Patrick out of a Yankee Glide mare, so leaving on the rail there for Daryl Neal, and you're going to see the three getting to the front there, Ocean View Nicky and Mike McGuigan heading to the front there to set up shop and rate the mile with his main man Glenn in the two-hole.
Looks like Mike wants to boss it here right off the hop.
Yeah.
So right now, guys, they make their way to the opening quarter station there. That's Ocean View, Nicky off the top with Mike McGuigan. Glenn Dunn has Supreme Rocket, and Bless Me Father, the other trotter there for Dale Neal, sits third. And guys, I want to thank Nick Oakes and, of course, all the back information that's coming up with these ties to the Atlantic Classic yearling sale as well. So we'll be providing some of that information throughout the sets today.
E.L. Rocket, the sire of the 3 and the 2, sitting 1-2 right now, and E.L. Rocket had a pretty nice debut there last year, and his offspring did well last night at the awards banquet. Congrats to all the winners. I hear Brett Close stole the show last night.
Oh, he had the line of the night, Kurt. We'll get into it a little bit later, but yeah, he had a great night. Corey McPherson had a great night. Michelle Myers,
right.
A lot of winners. Congratulations to everybody on a great 2023.
Yeah, Rocket Blast, Dusty Lane, we all had great nights, and these EL Rockets look pretty good, sitting 1-2 right now, with the Father Patrick making a move now.
Yeah, so take us through this, Kurt, here. Mike obviously cut it early. Glenn was sitting. It looks like now Daryl's making the move.
Yeah, Daryl is making the move, and again, like Lee mentioned, thanks to Nick. Nick gave us some information on these babies here. The one on the outside, Bless Me Father's, like I mentioned, the son of Father Patrick was purchased for $17,000 at the Atlantic Classic yearling sale from Redland Farms in Oyster Bed Bridge. And the two who's sitting third right now, Supreme Rocket, is the first foal from $122,000 winner, Supreme Monarch. And this EL Rocket filly went through the Atlantic Classic sale and was a buyback for $11,500 by breeder Jamie Whalen. And Ocean View Nicky sold for $16,000 at the Atlantic Classic sale. And the EL Rocket filly is a sister to Atlantic Breeders' Crown champions Shanchai and Ocean View Kate, and it looks like Ocean View Nicky is the winner.
I'm telling you, all three of them look really good, and Mike's off the front all the way. Looked very impressive.
Well, we have a sold-out top of the park here this morning, and some guests also in the grandstand here today taking a look at some of the action with Breakfast with the Babies. And while we start with the trotters here today, it's only fair to mention that the last couple of years, Kurt and Peter, there's been a significant investment with the trot breed here in Prince Edward Island, and this has been done through the Industry Association, the Breed Initiative, the Breeders Initiative programs as well, and we're seeing the great results from that I think, over the last couple of years.
100%. Kurt, you know the trot breed has come a long way on Prince Edward Island. The last couple of years, the Sire Stakes and all the stake races in Atlantic Canada have proven that. And with the look of these three here this morning, we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and the look of the crop last year on the track was just incredible, too. A lot of nice freshman trotters racing last year. They all look very talented. Looks like they're going to be able to go on to do great things in their career as well. And, yeah, it was a big kind of hole in our industry when Bill Andrew kind of stopped his operations.
Yeah.
And because he had the main trotting sires here, and then through the industry association bringing in those trotters, sires, it's been incredible. And it's nice to see it finally come to fruition there, especially last year with the talented sons and daughters of E.L. Rocket.
Yeah, like you were mentioning, and a couple of winners last night, Rocket Blast, Carl Bagnall's nice trotter, and Dusty Lane Wee. Wow, what a year she had.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting a track record, trained by Lenny Myers.
Yep.
Shout out to Lenny and Liam.
Yep, Tara as well.
And Tara
the whole
as
crew
well,
there.
and Matt. They all had Dusty Lane Wee on her toes last summer.
Well, Liam was at the banquet last night, and he was collecting all the hardware. He's got it all in his room, apparently.
I didn't see Matthew, but Liam likes the limelight,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm sure he's got the trophies home.
He did.
All right, so Breakfast with the Babies continues here this morning. If on your way in today with the top of the park, you're able to fill out a ballot, and we're going to have some prize draws for those in attendance today. And each set of the horses that have been entered here today, the owners of those set are in for draws from Greenhawk. And that's compliments of the Special Events Fund with the PEI Harness Racing Industry Association, so keep that in mind. There are other horses training this morning, so let me clarify that for you. We have, they just don't own the whole racetrack here today, these sets. So there's other horses out jogging and training like you would see on Saturdays. But we'll pick up the ones with the saddle pads, and those will be the ones that will be going in our next set. So we have our next set with Breakfast with the Babies is set number 2 in your race program that you're following along with. And we have one scratch in there, and that's the entry from Corey McPherson. That horse is not going to go this morning in the next set, but they will be turning here shortly, and the crew with Universal Media will pick them up on the backstretch, and we'll walk you through, cycle through the set here this morning.
Okay, Kurt, looking like we're getting ready here for set number 2. We'll take a look at the 4 quickly here. Ruthless Diva is this horse, and it's going to be Jared Perot this morning.
Yeah, another young fella in the game. Jared Perot is going to be aboard Ruthless Diva, 2-year-old filly by Silver Hill Shadow. And Jared Perot, I like the shadow roll in this one. Shady Daisy shadow roll. I always got a soft spot for the Shady Daisy shadow roll. We had one on a nice horse we had back in the day. So every time I see it on the track, it reminds me of Denashton Nukes, a horse we had back in the day. Yeah.
So, Kurt, I just want to ask you about that because I'm always fascinated with the equipment, and it gets better and better each and every year. But some of the equipment, like you say, especially that type of shadow roll, what is the purpose for it, and why would that horse be wearing that particular type of equipment?
Well, they got the shadow roll, the blue shadow roll on, and then they just use the white zip ties, and then they just zip them to the shadow roll, and they kind of stick out in front of the horse's face, and it's just to keep their attention. It's kind of like a pelling pacifier in a way that it keeps their focus on maybe the zip ties in front of them and not their gait. Because sometimes horses that aren't the best gaited, you'll kind of put a Shady Daisy shadow roll or a pelling pacifier just so they can focus on their business.
Okay, there's the 6, Kurt. Jackie Pang. I love that name, Jackie Pang here. The 2-year-old by Pang Shui. It's going to be Adam Murner and Melissa Rennie. They're going to be teaming up here. What a year they had last year. And Adam's got Jackie Pang.
Yeah, homebred Jackie Pang out of their mare, Baylands Hanover mare, Suck It Up Buttercup. So Peng Shui's, and I love Peng Shui's. And as Corey mentioned last night at the awards banquet, he's also a big fan. He had the nice filly last year, Rosetown Mary, who's also Peng Shui. There have been a lot of them over the years. He's been a great sire here, standing out at Ronnie Gass's farm. But we'll get a first look here at Jackie Pang, leaving right in the middle right now.
And on the outside is a Red Hanover here, the green shoe horse. And that's Brendan Curran today.
Yeah, and we mentioned Green Shoe, son of Father Patrick. So it'd be cool to get a good look at this son of Green Shoe leaving on the outside right now. It's a couple pacers and a trotter on the outside. I thought they would have gave the trotter the inside. But anyway, the Murner clan, they're quite competitive.
Yeah, here we go.
So Murner's on the front right now. I didn't know. I think Jody Hennessy's still helping out Murner in the mornings. I didn't know Jody would allow Murner on the front like this. Usually Jody likes to be the one cutting it.
That is very true. And Adam, though, very aggressive, like you said. And Kurt, quickly here, just looking at the numbers for Adam last year, 114 wins from 707 starts last year, up over 400,000 in earnings, 312 the batting average. The stable was dynamite last year.
Yeah, they had a really good year. Unfortunate loss there with their stable star Roser on Quest, which was devastating. He's been such a great campaigner for them and the Hanson family as well. But unfortunate loss. But yeah, they had such a great year out of their barn.
Yeah, we got to mention Melissa Rennie as well, who was the trainer on a lot of the horses in the Murner stable. How about Melissa's numbers last year for 2023? 78 wins from 399 starts, up over 275,000 in earnings. And how about the batting average? 355 for Melissa Rennie. What a year.
Yeah, it was quite a year. Quite a year for the female trainers. Jen Doyle also had a great year. So Melissa and Jen, they're firing on all cylinders. Their stables have been red hot over the last few years.
Doing great. So Adam's still on front here. Then it's the 4. That's Ruthless Diva for Jared Perot. It looks like the 7 trying to make a move here.
Yeah, and we should mention that the 7, Eric Hanover, came from the Harrisburg sale. The Kern clan paying $20,000 for the trotting son of Green Shoe. And the 4, Ruthless Diva, who's in the 2-hole there, now sitting 3rd for Jared Perot, was purchased for $2,700 at the Atlanta Classic sale. And the filly is sired by Silver Hill Shadow, who was campaigned on PEI by Terry Glant for the Gavin family of Sea Cow Pond. And the Gavins sent the horse to Ontario, where he won the Canadian Breeders' Championship for trainer Doc Moore.
And, of course, Ian was the Trainer of the Year in 2023 here. The O'Brien Awards held in PEI, and Ian won it. So it's hard to believe, Kurt, we have Ian as the top trainer in Canada and James McDonald as the top driver. What a year.
Yeah, the island is represented quite well. And how about this Green Shoe
Yeah.
getting up in the final strides to get it for Brendan Curran? That trotter looked good here this morning.
Nice finishing there for Red Hanover. As we see a Red Hanover, Jackie Pang and Ruthless Diva in set number 2 at Red Shores. Okay, Kurt, set number 3 this morning here. We're rolling right along. And we're going to look at the 8 and the 9 this time. Dusty Lane Levi will be 8. One Wicked Man is 9. And the guy in the bike here, I think he knows what he's doing with these guys. Over 3,000 career wins.
Yeah, and we all know he was a major player in the career of State Treasurer.
Yes, he was.
So
We're talking about Kenny Arsenault.
Yeah, Kenny Arsenault, my old stable buddy down back in the day. I even worked some summers for Kenny, and usually sitting on his back in these training miles back in the day.
Right on. One Wicked Man here for Kenny, 2-year-old by Mick Wicked. Now, Kurt, I looked up Mick Wicked. The numbers are staggering. 110 lifetime starts, 40 wins, 26 seconds, 16 thirds, over $5 million in earnings, 146-2, the record at the Red Mile. I mean, what a sire.
Yeah, what a sire, and we'll see how he does and how his babies perform. But he had quite a career. Longevity comes to mind when I think of Mick Wicked. He was so good for so long, and so we'll see if he passes that on to his babies.
Yeah, won a lot of big races. I think when I was looking him up, 3-year-old Breeders' Crown, he won that one, and the Canadian Pacing Derby, I think he won as well.
Yeah, and he was a handful, too, to handle. So I wonder what his babies are like. I wonder how aggressive they are, because he was quite aggressive. Him being a stud, of course. They're usually a little more aggressive anyway, but I think he was pretty aggressive. Mark McKinnon, Islander boy, and Ben Hollingsworth. I think they both work with him, and I think they've shared how aggressive he could be. Obviously, they worked for Casey Coleman back in the day. So
No. I was looking at Kenny's numbers, too, earlier this week. And, you go back, you think of Kenny on the driving side, but on the training side, Kurt, he's got 965 wins. So he's 35 away from hitting a pretty big mark in lifetime training wins.
Yeah, pretty incredible numbers. And we all remember the great filly he had, too, Meridian Magic. She went on quite a streak there, winning. Gosh, she won 20-some races in
25
a row.
in a row, I think. Yep.
It's been quite a career. And he also trained back in the day. Port Hill Alf was a really nice colt as well by Largo. So he's had a lot of good ones.
Yeah, he has 2009, he had 62 training wins, up over 180,000 in the bank. And then 2010, he had 67 training wins, up over 220,000 as well. So Kenny's done it all on the driving side and the training side. He'll have the 9 in here. The 9, One Wicked Man.
All right, so there you have with Breakfast with the Babies, and they're going to make their way to the next set here. Set number 3, going to make their way to the top turn here, and they'll be turning in. So you got the 8, Dusty Lane Levi, and again, thanks to Chairman Nick Oakes from the Atlanta Classic Yearling Sale, providing some background information on these horses as well. The 8, Dusty Lane Levi, 7,500 Atlantic Classic purchase from the second crop of the Ohio Siren World Champion Lather Up. And One Wicked Man sold for $10,000 at the Atlanta Classic as well. And colt is out of the Alexander Valley, who was campaigned on PEI by the late Earl Smith, and a full brother to undefeated filly Redland Peaches. So you'll see them on the backstretch. They'll looks like they're going to go another round here, guys, and then jogging, and then they'll be turning in and doing their training set here today.
Yeah, let's pick up the 8, Dusty Lane Levi, Kurt, and he is a 2-year-old by Lather Up. Now, we remember Lather Up as being another really nice horse. I looked up his numbers. 37 lifetime starts, 23 wins from 37 starts, 3 seconds, 4 thirds, up over 1.9 million in earnings, 146 at the Meadowlands. What I remember about him is how well Montrell Teague got along with him.
Yeah, he got along great with him. And how about George and Brenda Teague? In Delaware there. They just continue to punch out great horses, and they don't spend a lot of money on them. And the breeding is not what you would say extremely bold black mark. Like it's usually homebreds, and it's usually of sires that are not what you would say the top echelon of sires. And they continue just to put up great numbers year after year. And Lather Up, what a year he had that year as a 3-year-old. And if I recall, he was not very big. He was a pretty small horse. And so I want to see, I'm very interested to see this baby on the track. Kind of looks like Lather Up a little.
A little bit,
with the low head
Yeah.
and not overly big, but a really good size, actually.
Okay, so that's a Dusty Lane Levi, One Wicked Man. We'll get ready for set number 3 in just a minute. So here we go, Kurt. Set number 3. The 8 is Dusty Lane Levi. Greg Weatherby on the inside, and One Wicked Man for Kenny Arsenault on the outside.
Yeah, they're getting ready to score down here, and the 8 looks like he's on his business here really well. And I don't know if Kenny might be taking a 2-hole seat here early. That's unlike Kenny.
Yeah,
Back
usually
in the day, he used to like to boss the train of miles.
when you were working for him, what did you kind of learn from him? I know those were early days for you, so I mean, Kenny's got lots of experience. What did he teach you back in the day?
Well, when we'd be training the babies, he'd always want to, kind of sit single file like this, and there wasn't much movement, but up the backstretch, heading to the 3/4 pole, he used to like to get them rocking and rolling, and then especially after the mile, we would scoot them up the backstretch after the mile, pretty aggressively up the backside after their mile.
Right on. So Greg cutting it here, Kenny sitting back in the 2-hole. And we'll see what happens. It looks like they're going at a pretty good pace here early on.
Yeah, and Greg's got the stick up, just ready to keep this one on their manners here. And that's kind of what you got to do with 2-year-olds on the front end, because usually they can get quite goofy on the front end. Some of them are not used to leading it, and some of them like to say, "Are we pulling up now? Are we done?"
Yeah.
They're not quite sure what to do, so it's good to keep the whip up like that, just so you can give them some reminders, just a couple taps, just to keep them going and minding their manners. There you can see he gave her a little tap there. He took a look at his watch.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to step it up a little here.
And Kurt, the young horses, they all seem to have different personalities. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, absolutely. Some are a little lazier, some are a little more aggressive, and this one looks like it's got an ear hood and stuff on, and on the front end, the 8 Dusty Lane Levi.
Yeah.
And so maybe this one can get a little warm, or maybe he wants to keep it from getting a little warm with the hood on. But the one in the 2-hole, Kenny there, seems to be quite relaxed and quite comfortable doing his business.
You expecting to move from Kenny here before it's all said and done?
Oh, yeah. And one thing I do remember about Kenny, he liked to win the train of miles, so keep an eye for Kenny down the lane here.
Yeah, was there a couple of coffees on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely, back in the day.
Looks like he's going to make his move here now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Greg actually owes him the coffee in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're going to go at it here down the lane, just a couple tippy taps from each of them to kind of keep them on their business and let them know that they got to keep on rocking and rolling here around this turn, right through the mile.
Yeah, great finish. 8 on the inside, Dusty Lane Levi. That was Greg Weatherby.
The leather up colt looked good there.
Looked really good, actually, didn't he? And One Wicked Man, that's the McWicked Gold, finishing strong as well for Kenny Arsenault. So 8 and 9 here in set number 3. We'll roll on to set number 4 in just a moment.
All right, so we have another set out on the racetrack here this morning. Breakfast with the Babies continues. We're going to be working on set number 4. And so they'll be coming out there on the track. We'll pick them up in a minute. Some of the highlights that we had when we announced at the AGM just last Wednesday night, including some of the promo clips that are going to be in the market. And the first one up for the signature event is the Governor's Plate. And some great work there from Peter McPhee and the special projects team and UMI for pulling out some of these great clips from over the years as we set the tone for what's going to take place from promotional side and, of course, the race itself and the purse structure for Governor's Plate and other signature events. But let's have a look at the Governor's Plate as we tee up for 2024. So the control room going to great clip there of some of the photos we have in it, but we'll do the sound up here for you in just 2 minutes when it's ready to go. You did notice though that one of the announcements and one of the new plays we have this year is the post times in July in Saturday. They will be at 4 p.m. So you did notice that the Governor's Plate, that big race, course signature event happens at Redshores Summerside Raceway. Post time there on that day will be 4 p.m. So when it's ready to go, we'll roll it back in and cycle it back through for you. But it's Governor's Plate 24. Before you know it, it'll be here in July.
This island, it's a place of new
Okay, Kirk, getting set for set number 4 this afternoon here, this morning. We're looking at the 2 here. This is Shindig. It's a 2-year-old by Bet the Moon. And again, Mike Pollard is the owner, and it's going to be Mike McGuigan, who always seems to have them ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, they are on their toes this time of year for Mike. He always has them rocking and rolling early. Usually his babies are some of the first to qualify as 2-year-old. Shindig sold for $15,500 at the Atlantic Classic Yearling Sale in Crapo from the first crop of Bet the Moon, and he is out a former CDP overnight mare, Female Finesse, the younger full sister to Atlantic champion Deep Finesse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bet the Moon, 228 lifetime starts, 31 wins, 700,000 in earnings, up over 700,000, and a winner, the record, lifetime record, 150. At Tioga. So a nice sire here, the Bet the Moons, and there seems to be a lot of them around, Kurt.
Yeah, and I was talking to Corey. I did an article with Corey there last month, and he was liking the Bet the Moons. Mm-hmm. I didn't see any and didn't get any reports, so it was nice to hear from Corey that the Bet the Moons look pretty good. So.
Yeah, looks like they're set to go here. On the one is Evil Lou here. That's the 2-year-old gelding by Dancing Lou. And 45 lifetime starts for Dancing Lou, 15 wins, up over $1 million in earnings, 147-2 at the Meadowlands. And today it's Glenn Dunn, of course, who works with Mike.
Yeah, it works with Mike and got a live mount here. Evil Lou, of course, is the younger sibling to the phenomenal 2023 2-year-old Chip of Evil, who cleaned up last night at the awards banquet. And Evil Lou was an $18,500 yearling purchase from the Atlantic Classic sale from the first crop of Dance and Lose. So I'm looking forward to getting a good look at the Dance and Lose here this morning.
Yeah, and you know what, the ownership team, guys, big crowd here this morning cheering on the one as well, with the McDonald family here on the top of the park. There's a lot of the owners that are in here this morning with some of their guests. So hi to Mark and Alex, and also William McDonald from Hamilton, Ontario, Josh McDonald from Little Pond. So yeah, this is the time of year, as I was just talking to some of the guests here, that all the hard work and training sessions over the winter months, great opportunity to get the spotlight here today.
Well, it's kind of exciting as an owner, Kurt, like to see your horse out there for the first time in the jog cart. You know, like Lee said, they've been learning their lessons over the winter, but to actually come to the track and see them, that's pretty exciting.
It is. It's kind of the anticipation is growing for the summer, and your hopes of having a state competitor. It's still early.
Yeah.
So
Everybody's optimistic.
Yeah, everybody's optimistic still. 99% of the owners are quite happy with their purchases so far.
Yeah.
The rubber will hit the road here probably around May. You're gonna April into May. You kind of get to see who's gonna be the who's gonna be the best, and who,
for sure.
They kind of filter out that way. But this is a really good opportunity to see them going their early miles for sure.
Yeah, excellent. We see the one Evil Lou, as we mentioned, Glenn Dunn on the front, and Mike McGuigan with Shindig. And again, looks like Mike just sitting there maybe ready to pounce a little bit later in the mile.
Yeah, Shindig on the iron right now. Mike's got this 2-year-old Bet the Moon colt revved up in the 2-hole. But Evil Lou looks like quite comfortable on the front end here with Mike's main man, Glenn.
Yep, looks good. 1 and 2 as they battle towards the 3/4, and I think down the stretch, Kurt, it's going to be another tight finish.
And I think there might be coffee on the line here. Mike looks like he's ready to rock and roll here out of the 2-hole. He is going to make a move, and we'll see down the stretch who gets the job done in this training set. But both look good, and as we said earlier, Mike McGuigan's babies, they're always ready to rock and roll, and they look very professional on the track.
Yeah, here he is making the move out of the 2-hole here now. He's going to reach up here.
Drifting in a little bit. Mike had to do a little correction there, but it looks like he's
tight at the wire.
It is tight at the wire. They're finishing strong together. And Glenn on the inside gets it.
Very good between the 1 and the 2. I thought the 2 might have reached up there, but I don't know, Kurt. Maybe the 1 on the inside hangs on.
Yeah, Glenn definitely hung on there. Mike's 2-year-old got a little bearing in.
But it's okay.
And that's what they'll do. They're green. That's what they'll do down the stretch, and a few equipment corrections, and Mike will have that sorted out.
They're beautiful animals, though, Kurt, here. Like, it's amazing. Every year we look at these young horses. I say to myself, last year, they were beautiful stock, and then the next crop comes out, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, and the Atlantic breed, right? It just continues to step up their game year after year, and as I mentioned last night, and we've mentioned over the last couple of years, it's come such a far way in the last few years. Mm-hmm. And they can compete with anywhere in the world.
100%.
This crop.
You look at the horses that have left here and gone on to do great things.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so much more. Got the Kentucky of Canada award last night.
Yeah.
Bred right here in the island.
Yeah, and our Atlantic sired horses like Salzbrook Victor, Mystify. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Scott McLean.
Yeah.
Who had the early lessons on her. She's doing great things in Ontario as well.
Yeah.
I should mention, as we mentioned, McGuigan stable, and what a special night it was last night for Mike's dad, Len Barney McGuigan, who was honored with one of several builder awards that were recognized last night. But Len Barney McGuigan took his place, and will take his place on this plaque here of builders and longtime contributors to the industry here in Prince Edward Island. And it was a great moment, a special moment with all the McGuigan family there and other members that were part of that to get that recognition, because Len Barney McGuigan has spent a lot of time on this backstretch and has won a lot of races in his career as well.
Yeah, it was great to see him recognized last night. Of course, we all know Bernie. Kurt, you know him very well.
Yeah.
I know him very well. He's always got some advice for us when he sees us.
Yeah, and I would say he's down in the McGuigan barn daily, and Mike's getting lots of advice, whether Mike wants it or not, maybe. But, yeah, he's quite the character, and he's been such a great trainer-driver over the years. Southpaw Bernie, but and quite a competitor on the track.
Yeah.
If you were coming from the front, these young fellas like Mark Campbell and then won a quarter pole move to the front. Well, when Bernie was in his day, they better have a good horse if they're coming from the front and try and get it off of Bernie. But he was quite a competitor when he raced.
Yeah, it was great last night to see it. All the family was there, and again, Bernie being honored as one of the builders in the industry, well-deserved last night.
Now, by memory, let me see if I can get this. I know our next set is on the track, and the Universum is picking up, Universum Media picking up some of those horses, but so Len Barney McGuigan, Don and Ian Smith, Bill Lanigan, Tom McPhee,
yes,
Len Walsh,
Lenny Walsh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Leonard Walsh has been here for so many years, and I remember him as a kid driving as well, and it was really cool to hear his summary last night, and his son Todd and the family that were there too, but another gentleman that has played a significant role here in harness racing on Prince Edward Island. It's so nice to be recognized, all of them for that fact.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was stabled in Lenny, they were in our barn for many years, so we became great friends with Lenny and Todd, and it was so great to see Lenny get recognition last night.
Yes.
Such a long-time member of the harness racing industry.
Mm-hmm.
He had success on the track, and now having success kind of as a mentor to Todd.
Yeah.
Todd's stable's been on fire the last few years. So it was great to see Lenny last night getting that recognition along with the other builders, the Smith boys.
Yeah. The Smiths,
Ian and Don
Ian and
Smith,
Don,
yeah.
oh my land,
Yeah.
been around forever. Some top flight horses for those guys. Kurt, Lee and I were talking about that at the banquet last night.
Gold
Just
Cup and Saucers.
how many good
Yeah.
horses those two guys had over their careers.
Saul's Pride. And,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness me,
And
terrific.
that whole kind of full circle back to that horse I was mentioning with the Shady Daisy on earlier. Dinashta Nukes there, stable star back in the 90s, came from Don Smith's firm,
Yeah.
Dinashta Farms.
So many horses. I was
yeah.
talking to Tom McPhee as well last night, congratulating him. And again, just Tom, when they named off his horses, I was like, yeah, you just remember all the good
Yeah.
mares he had
Yeah.
over the years. And then his son has gone on to do great things in the breeding capacity as well. So, just the family line there is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely, and so much more getting that recognition last night. And shout out to Tommy Weatherby and Mark Bradley,
That's right.
who campaigned her as a stake horse here in the Maritimes, getting her set, kind of prepping her for her Ontario adventure when they sold her to Ontario Interest.
Yeah.
So there's Tom getting up last night with the industry builder award, and Tommy Weatherby's walking up. Tom McPhee and Tommy Weatherby walks up, and Tom said, "Here's the guy that made her."
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
So that you have to recognize that. And Mark with that first win, the drive here. So just incredible tie-ins last night to everything that's happening across the country and this industry here in PEI.
Yeah, we got to mention Bill Lanigan too. Like, it was so great to see all the Lanigans. They were sitting just ahead of us last night. And
Great
of course,
family.
yeah, great family.
Great family.
And again, just when they started listing off the horses, it was like, wow,
Yeah, and
something else.
absolutely. And Jason, my brother's been doing driving for them in the last few years, and they've been having so much success, having nice horses over the last few years as well. But yeah, nice to recognize Bill as well.
Absolutely. Congratulations to everybody last night at the banquet. It was a great night.
In grain of sand. One island voice speaks through.
Okay, getting ready for set number 5 this morning. We're almost halfway through here, so it's been a great morning so far. Great to see the young horses on the track. And we'll be going with set number 5 in just a moment. This is the 4 here, Salzbrook Gunner, the 2-year-old by Flameproof Hanover. It looks like Adam Murner back on the bike here from Melissa Rennie. The ownership group is Herman McQuaid, Mike May, and Krista Dunsford. So, again, they're getting a chance to take a look at Salzbrook Gunner.
And from the first crop of Flame-Proof Hanover, a son of Captain Treacherous, who Norman Hall and his syndicate brought here to the island, now stands out at Redland Farms with Arnold Hagen at his Redland Farms there, but sold for $13,000 at the Atlantic Classic yearling sale, and the colt is out of a $300,000 winning mare in Katie's Jet.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Salzbrook Gunner go here. As we said, just a couple of minutes away from set number 5. Okay, here's the 6. Spicy Son of a Beach here, the 2-year-old by Pang Shui. Gordy Hennessy's going to do the driving here. Melissa Rennie trains. We talked about Melissa's great 2023. And the owners are Corey Livingston and Gerald Kennedy. Kurt, this is Spicy Son of a Beach. Maybe a little bit of a mouthful for Vance here once we get going.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch himself with this name, but I like it.
Yeah.
Spicy Son of a Beach. And as you said, 2-year-old gelding by Peng Shui out of the Sunshine Beach Dam, and she had a nice name as well. She's a Spicy Beach, so breeder by Gerald Kennedy, and he is also the owner from Newfoundland along with Corey Livingston and Gordy Hennessy in the bike, the veteran.
Yeah, I mean, he comes from a long line of successful horse people as well, Kurt. I mean, we all know the Hennessy family, and Gordy's done very, very well. He's had a couple of nice horses over the last few years.
Yeah.
Tradition comes to mind right quick.
Tradition.
Yeah.
What a purchase that was.
Yeah.
Out of, I think, a condition claimer at Flamborough at the time, but right up the class ladder here. I remember when it was in the maiden, now winners at 2, and I didn't know, what kind of horse it would be, but wow, has he ever got tradition firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, what I love about him too is if he is close at the top of the lane, and Gordy, or sometimes Adam drives, but Gordy drives as well.
Yeah.
If they are close, that last quarter, this horse is flying most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So-
there's brother Jody just sliding by him there with the 5 here on Earth. A 2-year-old
Yes.
colt by Bet the Moon out of the Well Said Dam, Well Shaded. Also trained out of the Melissa Rennie stable.
Yeah, and Jody has had quite a career. I was actually looking him up this week, and the stats, back in the day when Jody was at St. John, he was one of the top guys in the Maritimes.
Yeah, Gordy and Jody, they all had great success over in the mainland, racing, and especially Jody at St. John. He was so successful over there, and then he came back home and ran a tidy little stable here on PEI. It was... you could eat off the barn floor.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how successful he was. For 1986, he had 137 wins in the Maritimes. 1987, he had 149. In 1988, he had 133. So that 3-year stretch, he was dominant. And he had some nice horses. Winner's Accolade, he won the Governor's Plate with. And Glenn Reynolds, do you remember that horse, Kurt?
Yeah, I remember the name.
Horse.
Yeah,
Terrific
absolutely.
horse.
I remember going to my dad Russell had horses with Jody Hennessy when Jody had his stable over in St. John, and Ronnie Matheson was a trainer for Jody Hennessy in those times as well. But just the way they treated the owners when you walked in the door, and we drove over from St. John this morning, and he did that. That's something that the Hennessy, a lot of the trainers do, but the Hennessy family especially. I remember over the years, Kurt, when Peter you come in. They dropped everything. They took you to the horse. They explained everything that was going on, how the horse was looking, what the horse was doing. It's just a real paramount relationship between the trainer and the owner, and that's something they continued on all those years.
Yeah, and they always look like $1 million, right?
They do.
On the track, as horses, the gear, everything looks top notch when you got Jody at the controls.
I remember when we had him on the virtual tack room, and Jody was talking about that, and he said his dad, Joe, taught them that early on. Like, you got to treat the owner with respect. They are the guys that have the horses. Yes, you guys are driving and training them, but at the end of the day, there has to be a partnership there. And Jody always remembered that.
Absolutely. No, without the horse owners, there's no game. So we got to treat them with all the respect and everything they deserve. And the red carpet should be rolled out for them, especially every time they come to the barn.
And all the Hennessy's have it. Like, when you talk to them, they love the game so much and respect the game so much. When you talk to Jody or Gordy or Wally or Danny, whoever you're talking to, they all talk about the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll do a note, and of course, we will be without the fantastic breeders that we have with the product. That's so it's one great big circle. They're getting a little assistance there, getting some of these horses turned. Just a note here. Just a reminder that the Atlantic Standard Breeders Association annual general meeting is tomorrow at 1:30 here at 1888 Lounge, which is just beside the grandstand here up in the upper level. So just a reminder on that, the ASBA annual general meeting tomorrow, 1:30, 1888 Lounge.
Okay, we're getting set here for set number 5. 4 will be on the rail. That's Salzbrook Gunner, Adam Murner on the inside. Here on Earth, Jody Hennessy. It's great to see in the middle. And on the outside, Spicy Son of a Beach. That's Gordy Hennessy, Kurt, as they get set to roll here. Okay, early going here. Looks like the 4, Murner on the front. Jody with the 5 in second, and Gordy in third. And you've got a little bit of info on the 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the 4 Salzbrook Gunner coming from the first crop of Flame Proof. Hanover is sold for $13,000 at the Atlanta Classic Yearling Sale, and the colt is out of Katie's Jet, bred by Norman Hall, and as we mentioned earlier, owned by Herman McQuaid, Mike May, and Krista Dunsford. So looking good on the front end right now. And as we mentioned earlier as well, Flame Proof Hanover, son of Captain Treacherous. So nice to get a look at the first crop going.
Yeah, Flame Proof Hanover. Looked him up a little bit last night too, Kurt. 24 lifetime starts, 5 wins, over $47,000 in the bank, and as a 2-year-old, pays 54 and 3 at Tioga.
Yeah, had some early speed, shown early speed, so hopefully he sends that on down to his babies. Got Jody in the 2-hole right now with Gordy bringing up the rear, sitting in third place, but Jody in the pocket trip. I think he's won a few races from the pocket in his day.
Yeah. I think they're going to make a move here eventually. Adam just sitting there, though. He's pretty comfortable right now on the front, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing possum on the front right now. I think he's just letting them know that he's got it well in control. I thought Jody'd be on the front for this trip.
Well, I'm telling you, Jody, I think is going to make a move with the 5. That's Here on Earth, the 2-year-old colt by Bet the Moon, and then Spicy Son of a Beach sitting third right now, the 2-year-old gelding with Pang Shui. We'll see how it ends up here as they get set to make the turn and fire home.
Murner's colt looks really
I'm telling
nice.
you, he's just sitting there
Good
with this
gated
colt.
too.
Yeah.
Really nice gate.
I don't think he's lifted a line yet, has he?
No.
No.
Very relaxed.
Yeah, on the front end for a baby. Looks pretty good. Reaching out too for a nice long stride.
He's a
Looking
nice
really
animal.
good finishing.
Yeah, that's a nice race. They all actually looked very good in that set.
Yeah, and Murner's colt well under wraps. Not sure how fast they went, but well under wraps and looked very good on the front.
Yeah, Salzbrook Gunner, the Flame Proof Hanover. That's the 2-year-old, and he looked real good on the front for Adam.
I would say that James Perot, who's the co-owner of Here on Earth there and the president of the PEI Standard Horse Owners Association, happy with last night, how things went, and happy this morning by seeing his horse in the training with the babies along with his co-owner there, Corey Livingston of Village Green. So they'd be happy with that. Next set is coming up here soon. We do have some of the owners that were entered into the set this morning. We'll be announcing some of those winners. So each set of owners, we put your ballots in, and we're going to draw from Greenhawk, from the Special Events Committee, from the PEI Harness Racing Industry Association. I saw Mike Curry here this morning. He heads up that team. So thank you for that support. And we have some draws for dinner for 2 in the top of the park. These are some prize draws here for the guests that come through the top of the park. So when you were greeted out front there, and I think, Peter, the 50-50 number is right there. Tracy just dropped that off as well. Marge Junker is the winner this morning with dinner for 2. Thanks for coming out for breakfast with the babies. Gordon Coles is a winner with breakfast with the babies, and so is Janice McDonald. Dinner for 2 in the top of the park for you. Thanks for coming out here today, and we appreciate you showing up for breakfast with the babies.
Yeah, and I have the 50-50 number here. This is for $315. So here we go. The number is F1565211. Again, the 50-50 number is F1565211.
There's Freddie McDonald right beside us in the broadcast center, is reading his article this morning, Pete. He says the Leafs in 6.
Well, I think I agree with him, actually.
Kurt gave you an awful look on that.
Freddie, come on. Leafs in 6.
I think there's going to be a rumble over here. No.
Lee, look what you started.
The mics are live now, gentlemen. Anyway, let's, well, before the next set, we teed it up a little earlier. Here's a look at Governor's Plate, our promo that's coming up for Red Shores Summerside. It's presented by Summerside Chrysler Dodge. Just see if we can get the audio on this one to get ready to roll.
The Governor's Plate is Summerside's race, crowning harness racing champions for over 50 years and making memories that last a lifetime.
Walter Simmons, it's your time! Bugsy McGuire wins Governor's Plate 52!
Be a part of something special this summer on Prince Edward Island. It all happens in July from Summerside PEI.
Time to dance in Mark Campbell! Time to dance in Governor's Plate 53!
The Governor's Plate, proudly presented by Summerside Chrysler Dodge. Go to Redshores.ca for more details.
All right, and that post time, as we said, post time 4 p.m. And Peter, lots of work done from you and the team there, pulling together those historic clips over the years. And when you go back to 55 years, 54 years, and so many great memories and so many great videos to pull from.
Yeah, and again, I love going back through the history. The one that sticks out for me is Bugsy McGuire there, winning that. And you just remember all the great races. Kurt, you were there in Summerside for those races.
Yeah.
And you're part of the Governor's Plate.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't pull the 05 edition because I would like a do-over in that one.
Well.
I ended up fourth in the final, but we had a good memory in the elimination. We won the elimination.
Yes. Edgewater RB, I believe.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
But I'm glad you didn't show the final that one.
Well,
And
there were a lot of clips over the years we could have selected as well. So, but as you said, some great memories. And
Yeah.
that's one thing about what we heard last night in the panel. Brian McPhee, Corey McPherson, young Brett Clough, who did a great job too, is all the do-overs that you would like to have sometimes. You know, you have all these great wins and the stats are impressive, but there's always something in a race that can happen. You like to say, you know, if I had that to do over again, I'd probably do it a different way.
Yeah, I was talking to Corey McPherson, and he said he'd like a do-over in the Gold Cup and Saucer. He was in it a few years ago, and he said, I'd like to have that to do over again. And same with me in that Governor's Plate. I didn't drive him terrible. I ended up second over, but that wasn't the trip he needed. He needed to be up close to the front in a two-hole or something, but because I left a good post that day, post 2.
Okay.
Anyway, let's not bring it up.
So we're going with set. No,
Bad segment here. You got Freddie coming over, leaves in 6.
You got me rattled here.
Bring up the Governor's Plate for Kurt Hughes.
too many things going on.
You got me
Gosh.
rattled here. The Bruins are losing, and we're bringing up old bad memories.
We'll get back to the track, though. This is set number 6, so it's Watch Me Shake It here, the 2-year-old filly by He's Watching, and Moonlight, the 2-year-old gelding by the Moon Barrera, or Bet the Moon, sorry. So, Kurt, here we go, 7 and 8.
Yeah, and again, thanks to Nick Oakes for getting these summaries and some of the info that we are using here this morning on these babies. The 7 Watch Me Shake It had a $16,000 $16.5 price tag at the Atlanta Classic. He is a He's Watching filly. Is the younger sister of CDP 2-year-old pacing filly, track record holder, High Roller.
Yeah, 55-1, Kurt. I was looking that up today. I knew High Roller had the record here in Charlottetown. That happened in November.
Yeah, it was
November
not
2nd.
a nice night.
Yeah.
And she just shipped home from Ontario.
Yeah.
She was up there for about a month. And I remember I think I was working that night, and I didn't like her to win it because I said, she's just shipping home from Ontario. I think they'll probably give her a start. And gave her a start all right down the highway in track record form.
I was thinking to myself today, would that be a record for CDP, like that late in the year to set a track record in November?
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Really was quite a trip.
It was not a nice night. It was cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So Watch Me Shake It, that's Kenny Arsenal now sitting 2. And the horse in the front, that's Moonlight. Like we mentioned, the Bay Gelding by Bet the Moon. And that's Greg Weatherby again on the front.
Yeah, and this son of Bet the Moon sold for $10,000 at the Atlanta Classic sale. And his mother is a $130,000 winner, Barona Lilac, who won the top class Enduro 7 straight times in 2015.
Now, Kurt, we always have to do it here. The owner is the ICU stable, but look at the breeders there. That's Darren Crow and Brennan Crow. So we got a shout out to Brennan. He's always
Absolutely.
watching
Big
Red
fan.
Shores. Holy
Big
smokes.
fan of race day.
Loves the harness racing. So,
Yeah.
Brennan, hi to you. Hope Darren's doing well. Artie Kennedy is well over there. They're always watching Red Shores. So, Kurt, I'm sure they're tuned in today.
Absolutely. And we also We got Freddie to our right here, and he brought up the Bruins Leafs.
Yeah.
And we got Kenny Arsenault in the two-hole
Oh,
here.
my land.
Die-hard Bruins
He
fan.
is, yep.
And so myself, Kenny, we're not going to be too happy to read Freddie's column with the Leafs in 6. But I'll just leave it at that.
Well, I'll read it online later today. But I like the fact that I think the Leafs, Kurt, this is the year they turn the corner, no?
No, this is not the year they turned the corner. This is the year you Leaf fans that think they're going to turn the corner. They did get a bit more aggressive. They signed some nice players in Bertuzzi, ex-Bruin.
Ex-Bruin, yeah.
And Max Domi. I think the scrums are going to be a little more evenly matched this year in the playoffs, but I think the Bruins are going to pull it out. So I think you and Freddie are going to be wrong on that account.
All right, we'll see what happens. Game 1 is tonight, and here is the finish here of set 6. Watch Me Shake It. That's the 7. And Moonlight is the 8. And your friend here, Kenny, trying to get up late on the outside with the 7 here.
Yeah, at a Diana Santana. Philly by He's watching. Looks good on the outside, but the 8 is going to hang on. Moonlight, another good-looking son of Bet the Moon, getting the job done here in early morning session with the breakfast with the babies.
Seems like the horses along the rail are hanging on, Kurt, this morning.
Yeah, they're when they're on the front end, they don't want to give it up. And along the inside, especially that one looked very good on the iron finishing. Very good for Greg Weatherby.
Yeah, nice set there. That's set 6, set 7 on the way at Red Shores.
All right, so we have 10 sets on the way this morning as we roll along with Breakfast with the Babies. And as we mentioned, we put some ballots in for some of the owners, for all the owners in each set. Their ballots went in, and then we made draws. So out of the set so far, they are winners from Greenhawk, a gift card from Greenhawk. Jamie Whalen is a winner this morning. So is Albie Curran. You're a winner from Greenhawk. We're going to leave these at the race office for you. You get a chance to drop by and pick them up. Or if you're in the top of the park here, you can see me as well. They have them at the broadcast center. We also have Kathy Johnson and Tammy Johnson, 10 Mile House. So you guys are winners this morning. Out of your set, drew your name. Mike Pollard is a winner this morning from Greenhawk out of set number 4.
Okay, set number 7. I mean, a lot of hockey talk off mic here this morning, and there are some strong opinions on the Bruins and Leafs coming up in game number 1 tonight, but we'll get back to set 7 here. Saltwater Swinger is going to be the 1 here, 2-year-old filly by Bet the Moon. That's Mike McGuigan, the driver and the trainer. Breeders are Kyle Gardner and Joseph Gardner. And then there's the 2, Red Dirt Rocket, the Bay filly for Arthur Blue Chip. Glenn Dunn drives, Mike McGuigan trains. Josh McDonald and Glenn Dunn share the co-owners here, Kurt, on the 2 Red Dirt Rocket.
Yeah, a couple fillies we're going to get a look at here. And again, so professional. Look at this one just walking along there on the backstretch. Nice and calm, getting ready to go the mile. And again, I repeat it every time we do these breakfasts with the babies. But Mike, he always has them looking top-notch, professional, especially early this time of year.
Yeah, he always seems to be one, like you said, one of the first guys to have the babies ready to roll, and it certainly looks like again in 2024. Yeah, he's got it. Red Dirt Rocket, Arthur Blue Chip. Looked them up again, Kurt. I like looking up the sires just to see what their lifetime numbers were. 38 starts, 14 wins, up over $500,000 in lifetime earnings. And as a 4-year-old, took a record of 150-1 at Pompano, 2015. Wally Hennessy in the bike.
Yeah,
at Pompano.
Yeah, absolutely, and had a good early career too in the Metro as well. Arthur Blue Chip, but Arthur Blue Chip, he didn't get a great rap last year, and I'm not quite sure why, because I was doing an article there in my top 5 fillies to watch this year for 2024. 4 of the 5 are Arthur Blue Chips.
There you go.
The fillies were unbelievable last year, and so I'm not quite sure why the some of the comments, and even Corey last night said he's heard rumors of people not liking Arthur Blue Chip, and I said, they're all the best. I'm not sure quite why people are thinking that, because he has thrown some incredibly talented babies.
Proof is in the pudding, like you said, especially on the filly side.
Yes.
The numbers are there.
Yeah.
And
Chip
the
of
wins are
Evil.
there. Yeah, Chip of Evil. Like last night, Kurt, Chip of Evil. Filly of the Year, Pacer of the Year, Horse of the Year. That doesn't happen very often for a young horse to do all of that in one season and capture all those awards.
Absolutely. And I think Good Morning Nova was another one. And there have been others. But just incredible crop that we've seen here last summer. And like you said, especially on the fillies side. And here we're getting a look at the 2 here, which is a daughter of Arthur Blue Chip and Red Dirt Rocket. Sold for $5,000 at the Atlanta Classic. And she's an Arthur Blue Chip younger sister to stakes performers Red Dirt Love and Life. And she's a Royal Cowgirl.
Okay, we'll be getting ready for set number 7 in just a couple of minutes. Okay, like I said, we'll get to set number 7 in just a moment. Kurt, but we want to talk about this because this is coming up quick here, the Atlantic Regional Driving Championship. It's happening right here at Red Shores in Charlottetown, Saturday, May the 25th, and look at the field.
Yeah, quite a field assembled for Saturday, May 25th, post time 6 p.m. We got Todd Treitz, Arden Mofford, Corey McPherson, Paul Angel, Kenny Murphy, Mark Campbell, David Dowling, and Redmond Doucette, a talented field of 8 drivers.
And 2 of them will go on to represent the Atlantic region at the National, which is going to be held, I think, in 3 Rivers in early July. So, Kurt, you're looking at this group here. These 8 guys are amazing, had amazing years in 2023. The top 2 coming out of there is going to be very tough.
Yeah, and good news for them. Like you said, I think it's on the half-mile track at 3 Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are all very familiar with the half-mile racing, so half-mile specialists. Hopefully the 2 winners go on to get it done on the national stage. Yeah,
going to be a great event here. Like we said, Saturday, May 25th, right here at Red Shores in Charlottetown. Post time, 6 p.m. Okay, looks like we got set 7 ready to roll here. Saltwater Swinger is on the inside with Mike McGuigan, and Red Dirt Rocket with Glenn Dunn, and they look ready to roll here right from the hop, Kurt.
Saltwater Swinger revved up. I see got the ear hood on there, so trying to keep this one calm, but it looks revved up early. Mike's got quite a hold of Saltwater Swinger. We want to tell you about Saltwater Swinger, $25,000 price tag at the Atlanta Classic sale. And also from the first crop of Beth the Moon, her mother, Shadow Dancer, has already produced stakes winners like Woodmere Rollin' Pop and Woodmere Jazz.
They are serious here, Kurt, in the early going. They hit some step right away.
Yeah, Mike's is revved up on the front end here. And as I mentioned, got the blue ear hood on. So Mike's trying to rate this one. And on the front end, we'll see how they do with main man Glenn in the 2-hole biding his time.
Right on. And Glenn, we got to mention Glenn because he does so much work for the McGuigan stable. He's there all the time. I see him a lot here during the days, Kurt. So again, a shout out to Glenn. I saw him last night at the banquet, and I said, Glenn, I'm going to give you a shout out tomorrow morning. He does a lot for the McGuigan stable.
He sure does. He's like I said, he's their main man, and Mike couldn't do it without him. It's so hard to find great help, and so when you have great help, you got to treat them well. And Mike treats them very well, and Mike has nothing but great things to say about him. He's top man, and so nice to give him a little recognition here this morning. And he looks like he's getting ready to rock and roll here in the 2-hole.
Yeah, the 1 and the 2 as they swing around and head to the backside here. And again, Kurt, like I said, I'm always amazed at the crop. And you just look at these 2 horses, and you're like, wow, the breed is just fantastic here again. All these babies.
They're looking like classy campaigners. They look like they've been doing it for quite a while, and they're just babies. So especially the one in the front here, just rocking and rolling. Mike has not had to turn a line on his mount and just trying to keep it nice and relaxed. Mike, I seen him take a look back a couple times. I think he's communicating with Glenn to get his rocking and rolling. They're going to let them fire down the stretch here, and they both look like they are wanting to do nothing but go forward, which I said that earlier. When you're looking at the babies, especially this time of year, you got to look at the ones that want to go forward, because that's going to really help them once they start dropping down in time.
Yeah.
Mike is under a death grip here, getting to the
wire.
wire.
The hold on the 1, amazing. Great set again. And Kurt, on the turn, I was just noticing they're held together so well. Like their gait is amazing for early on.
Yeah, and Mike under a strong hold there. I'm sure he probably doesn't like that. To be honest, I don't think he likes this filly that fired up, because you don't want to wash her at, especially when they get down going faster miles. You don't want her to get too keyed up before the mile and get too washed out. So he's going to probably have to work on that. Maybe put her in the 2-hole and come from off the pace and try to get her to relax during the mile, because you don't want them that revved up the entire time, because they'll get a little tired late in the mile once they start dropping. But Mike, he'll get her ironed out, and she looked good here this morning.
Oh, she looked great. And again, I know you've done this lots of times as well, but they're just learning, right? Again, they're learning to race on the front. They're learning to race from a hole.
Yeah, this time of year, I mean, they're just getting going, really. They're just going miles in 30s. Some of them have probably been in high 20s, 28, 27, but right around the 2:30 mark. So they're just getting rolling.
Yeah. Look great again. We'll get ready for set number 8 as we roll along here at Red Shores. Okay, Kirk, getting ready for set number 8 this morning, as they'll be saddle class 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, 3, 4, and 5. Corey's stable has come down with a little bit of sickness here this morning, so we're down to 3, 4, and 5. Here's the 3, Woodmere Honeymoon, the Bay filly by Bet the Moon, owned by Herman McQuaid, Mike May, And Krista Dunsford, that's the ownership, bred by Woodmere Farms. The trainer is Melissa Rennie, and the driver is going to be Jody Hennessy.
Yeah, and just quickly about Corey. We were just chatting there through text, through messages, and last month when I was doing the article about him, just catching up with him because I did one on him a few years ago.
Yes.
And his career has just exploded, over the last few years. And he was just talking about the babies here and this Woodmere Moonshine that is scratched out of this set. He had high things to say about Woodmere Moonshine. Really happy with the way this filly has been going. Daughter of Bet the Moon and a Skylark Hanover. We all know who she threw, Woodmere Sky Roller,
great.
Stakes champion. So he has high hopes for Woodmere Moonshine. Unfortunately, maybe she stayed out late with Corey last night.
Well, I
and
don't know.
didn't
I
wanna go
mean,
this morning.
Corey did a great job in the panel last night.
He sure did.
It was
He sure
him
did.
and Brian McPhee and Brett Clough.
Yep.
And they talked about just their involvement in the industry and where their careers have gone. Of course, Brett on the younger end, Corey in the middle, Brian, we'll say the senior of the group.
Yeah, great panel.
Yeah, it was a great panel.
3 guys.
Yeah.
Like Brian mentioned, all advanced, all different stages of their career.
Yes.
Brian's winding down, Brett's just revving up, and Corey kind of in his prime right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? It was a great panel to have.
Yeah, speaking
3
of
characters.
that, oh, it was great. And I just want to review Corey's numbers because I think it's important, Kurt, just to let people know how good he was last year. 974 drives. He had 185 wins last year. 781,000 in earnings. That was tops in the Maritimes, and the driving average was 333. So, Corey, congratulations to you. He was Horseman of the Year also last night at the banquet. So, want to give a shout out to Corey and a great 2023.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't help but wonder, guys, what it would look like this year with the announcements that are made around the purse pool when you look at money earnings like that from Corey McPherson and others, but Corey with the top money earnings that we could see, $1 million earner in the Maritimes, which would be just a fantastic thing to see, but just goes to prove the growth and what's been happening here in the last couple of years.
It really does, Lee. And again, they had the AGM this week. A lot of positive announcements coming out of that as well. Again, purses are trending up. Seems like everybody is very excited about what's going to be happening in 2024. And yes, Kurt, I think someday you will see a driver hit the $1 million mark in the Maritimes.
Absolutely. And Corey broke the record last year for earnings, just north of $750,000. And so I think you'll see it, especially with the purse bumps we're getting in the stake section of the purse pool. You're going to see $1 million earner, I think.
Yeah, and the invitational ranks there too, the signature events, as you mentioned, Kurt, and all those new breed initiatives that are going out. And I want to thank, I just want to say, like our GM, our general manager, David McKenzie, had such great comments there last night because he talked about some of the things that were being done, and he also leaked some of the information that all the hard work that's being done behind the scenes in terms of a planning structure of what's going to take place here in the next 5 years. So there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. You can't announce it all at once. But that doesn't mean that the work isn't going on in the future, and the bright lights of what's happening down the road is not being thought of today. And so folks like him and Blaine McPherson, the chair of the Industry Association and stuff, it just let you know some of the many things that are happening. And another sellout here this morning at Breakfast with the Babies for the investment on the track.
Yeah, and we got to mention also for the fans that are coming to the track this season, Kurt, that O'Brien's, a new restaurant downstairs, formerly known as Turf's, now named O'Brien's. We did that the last card of the meet when the O'Brien Awards were here. So a brand new restaurant downstairs for fans when they're coming in this year. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it when it opens up. It looked just from the drawing there that it's going to be pretty cool down there.
It's going to be great. Again, for people who are coming to the races, again, there's been investment not only in the horse side, but also in the buildings here at Red Shores. You're going to have a great time when you come here to enjoy the races. So, again, something for the fans to look forward to in 2024.
And just looking at Corey's stats there from last year, 781, 573.
Yeah.
He made in earnings, and he has career wins. 1,574 and just a little over $4 million in career driving earnings.
Yeah.
So he's on a roll.
Huge season. And when the awards were doing last night, I was doing the videos, Kurt. It seemed like every time the winner came up, Corey was driving the horse. So that to me said that, he had a huge year. Okay, set number 8. Here is the 3 Woodmere Honeymoon. for Jody Hennessy. We talked about Jody as being a great guy in the Maritimes, and the numbers back it up. Melissa Rennie had a great 2023. The ownership group was Herman McQuaid, Mike May, and Krista Dunsford. And Kurt, this is a 2-year-old filly by Bet the Moon.
By Bet the Moon, and was sold for $12,000 at the Atlanta Classic sale. And she is a sister to 151 winner Woodmere and Drolly.
Looking good here as she gets ready to roll for set number 8. There's the 4. Lady Lamoureux, brown 2-year-old filly by Arthur Blue Chip. Marcia Knox, Corey Livingston, they share the ownership. Trainer is Melissa Rennie, and Jody's brother Gordy is going to do the driving here this morning.
Gordy back in the bike, going to go another round here with this, the 4, is it?
Yeah,
Lady
it's the 4, yeah.
Lamoureux, and 2-year-old filly, another good-looking daughter of Arthur Blue Chip, sold for $8,500 at the Atlanta Classic sale, and a sister to stakes winner Bridge Token, who also raced from the Rennie stable.
We were mentioning earlier the Arthur Blue Chip fillies have a track record of real good success. So this ownership group should be pretty happy to see this horse out on the track.
Absolutely.
There is the 5. That's Howmack Artist Last. It's a 2-year-old filly by Articulator. The ownership group is Corey Livingston, Kevin Teasdale, and Dustin McGinnis. They all share ownership. Melissa Rennie trains. And it's Adam Murner. We talked about Adam last year. Kurt, the stable was rock solid in 2023.
Absolutely. And this one, an $8,000 purchase from the Atlantic Classic sale. And she is from the final crop of Atlantic Sire. And I was thinking that when I seen it here this morning, Articulator. You don't see too many of them around. This is from the final crop of Articulator, who had a number of champions like Ramblin' Lily and Touch of Lightning.
Yeah, Adam last year again. If you weren't with us earlier, 114 wins last year for Adam. Dynamite season, up over 400,000 in earnings, and 312 was the average. So the Murner stable was rolling last year.
The one on the rail in here, Woodmere Honeymoon, if I remember correctly, the mare that this one's out of Morrible, Hanover, I think is a sibling to Androli Hanover.
Oh, wow, okay.
Who was the sire here in the Maritimes for a few years, and I think was the sire of Jeff Lilly's great mare, Bedham Jackie.
Okay.
I think, if my memory is correct, it's not as good as it used to be, but this one comes from a pretty nice family on the rail for Jody Hennessy.
That's the 3 Woodmere Honeymoon. Looks like the 5. Like we said earlier, Murner likes to be aggressive, and he goes right out of there with the 5. Howmack Artist Last, right to the front.
Yeah, and again, from the last crop of Articulator. Talking about the nice horses that Articulator threw over the years. Ramblin' Lily, what a mare.
What a mare.
Just so many wins over the years.
Yep.
Stakes champion.
Yep.
Race well for Walter Chivry, Kenny Murphy.
Yeah.
They both had great success with her over the years for Alan Jones, right?
Alan Jones, they were in New Brunswick.
Owner and trainer.
Yep. And, Kurt, we talk about Queens of the Maritimes. She was, for a long time, the Queen of the Maritimes in the mare ranks.
Yeah, she could absolutely not be beat in that division. And Kenny and Walter both drove her perfectly.
Perfect, yep.
They always had her covered up and just pounced on them late.
That was the thing with her. Like, she really, I mean, she won some off the front, but, like, she could do it any way, really. Very versatile horse.
Very versatile. And so was Touch of Lightning, who campaigned for the late great Earl Smith.
Yep.
So.
Yep, for sure. 5 on the front here. 4, that's Gordy Hennessy in the 2-hole with Lady Lamoureux, the 2-year-old filly by Arthur Blue Chip. And then it's Woodmere Honeymoon, and that's Jody Hennessy. Sitting 3 right now. We'll probably see a couple of moves before this is over.
Yeah, repetitive, but gosh, they look professional out on the track, especially the 5 on the front right now. Usually you got to keep them on their toes when they're on the front end, but Murner's sitting chilly in the bike here right now on the front end, rating quite well, and the 2 in behind looking pretty good as well.
Do. They look like racehorses already. I mean, it's amazing. I was talking to Adam. He was at the AGM here on Wednesday night, and I said, how did your winter go? He said, great. He said, I'm ready to qualify, which we'll do next Saturday here in Charlottetown. And then also on the Tuesday, we'll have one in Summerside as well next week But Adam's stock is ready to roll, and you can see on the track here today, Kurt.
Absolutely, and we're going to get a good look at them finishing here. Really no excuse for the trainers. I'm going to tell them right now, they better have their stock ready because the weather has been really well. I mean, we only had one major storm, unfortunately, right on O'Brien Awards weekend. But other than that, it's been a pretty nice winter for training.
Yeah, no,
So good look at them finishing there. The 5 looked really good for Murner.
Look great. 3 finished up well. Woodmere Honeymoon.
Absolutely.
And the 4 as well with a nice trip. Lady Lamorai. Set number 8 is in the books. Set number 9 on the way at Red Shores.
Yeah, and before we get into set number 9, too, just a couple of follow-ups on that. The track is being graded Wednesday and Thursday of next week. You talked about the weather over the winter, which is great, and that's a fair point. But 200 and some horses on this track every day can do its wear and tear. So grading Wednesday and Thursday, and then qualifying on Saturday, the 27th at 12 o'clock, Sunday at Red Shores, Summerside, 12 o'clock, and then Tuesday back here at Red Shores, Charlottetown, qualifying at 6 p.m. So a couple of important notes there. And we talk about awards banquet. The next big awards banquet Saturday night at Summerside will be the Prince County Horsemen's Club Horse Annual Awards. So we look forward to that. A couple more winners from our sets this morning. The owners that were into the Breakfast with the Babies. And so we went through and cycled through some winners here today from Greenhawk. And if you're not here in attendance, we'll leave them at the race office so you can pick them up at another time. Rosetown Stable was in set number 5. So that's Stratford, James Gorman, South Melville, Mike Gorman. You may have to arm wrestle for this prize, but your group was named for that. Morris Cody was the owner of Watch Me Shake It and picks up a prize from Greenhawk. Also, Josh McDonald, Little Pond, and Glenn Dunn of Somerville picked up a prize today. And just out of that set, Herman McQuaid, Mike May, and Krista Dunsford, also the ownership team, picking up a prize from Greenhawk and the PEI Standardbred Harness Racing Industry Association Special Events Committee. Okay, so our Breakfast with the Babies continues here today, and about the qualifying sessions that are coming up. And then, of course, our opening weekend is May 4th, and that will officially kick off the countdown to the 65th running of the Gold Cup and Saucer presented by Atlantic Lottery, the $100,000 final. And this year, it's going to be the Drive to 65. This is a pretty cool promotional campaign that we're going to kick things off here. Again, a lot of work putting into these promo pieces of what's going to happen for players and customers, but also our video presentations coming out. Let's have a look at the Drive to 65 Gold Cup and Saucer coming up here in 2024.
Prince Edward Island summers, breathtaking scenery, beautiful beaches, and warm hospitality all can be found here. PEI is a special place with a special race, the Gold Cup and Saucer, the greatest show in harness racing. This year, we celebrate the 65th edition of Canada's most prestigious race on a half-mile track.
This is the greatest Gold Cup and Saucer of all time!
The excitement, the crowd, the atmosphere.
Smooth, Lou, and the Shepherd brothers, they win the Gold Cup and Saucer!
The tradition, the spotlight, and a purse of $100,000.
Showtime!
Only in Prince Edward Island, only at Red Shores. The one and only Gold Cup and Saucer, presented by Atlantic Lottery. Join us this August on Prince Edward Island for Old Home Week and the Drive to 65.
Well, there it is, Peter and Kurt, the Drive to 65. And Kurt, well, I know because Peter and I have been working on these promo clips, and Peter and the team pulling together some historic moments for the 65th running. And also you're going to find some other 30-second promo pieces that's going to have some other great moments baked in. One of my favorite moments was as you remember, Rev Engine and Angel Shadow in that historic stretch drive in the mud that night. Unbelievable finish.
Yeah, unbelievable finish and unbelievable call from Boomer Gallant. That one's a legendary call. And it was such a phenomenal race, and the stretch drive between those two was incredible.
Yeah, great memories. We'll be playing the videos throughout the season, and the Rev Your Engine one with Phil Pinckney and Marcel on the inside, Marcel Berry with Angel Shadow, one of the tops of all time. As we work on set number 9, and Kurt, we got to shout out to Tara Polton-Myers,
absolutely,
who's been down, making sure everybody gets out onto the track on time. And like we said, Tara's the perfect girl for that job.
She is the perfect girl because these guys, they mind their P's and Q's when she's down there. She is the boss, and she's like a great quarterback in the NFL. All the greats, they always have success, and Tara's down there, and she's quarterbacking it all morning long. And it just shows. Every set has been
right on time,
one after the other, and that's all because of the guys getting the horses ready, but of course Tara as well, organizing it all and getting them out on the track in time.
Yeah, thank you, Tara. Great job today. It takes a lot of work to get this all together on the track, and you've done a super job today. Set number 9, like we said, and we're going to have the 7 and the 8. This looks like the 8 here, Redland Extinguisher, the 2-year-old colt by Flame Proof Hanover, owned by Peter Smith and Gerald Morrissey. Wow, they've had a lot of good horses, those two guys, over the years. Kenny Arsenault is the trainer and the driver, Kurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one is the 8 Redland Extinguisher, sold for $20,000 at the Atlanta Classic sale from the first crop of Flame Proof Hanover. Is a younger brother, 2 stakes winner, Fisherman's Son, who was an incredible colt for Walter Walker.
Yes.
And Danny Gillis did the driving on Fisherman's Son. And again, that one sired by Arthur Blue Chip.
Yeah, okay, so there you go.
We talked about the great fillies that Arthur Blue Chip threw here in the Maritimes, but there you go. There's a son of Arthur Blue Chip who was pretty incredible.
Good horse.
His only problem, he ran into malignity.
Yeah, that was a tough.
So that was tough sledding for him.
Exactly. Yeah, but you mentioned a really nice horse, so was Fisherman's Son in the Maritimes. Had a wicked speed, that horse.
Absolutely. Yeah. Had a really fast mark and did a lot of great things here, but again, just unfortunately had to run into
ran into a monster.
The big moose,
exactly.
Malignity, big strong horse. He was hard to beat.
Nice to hear, Kurt, the Malignity sticking around in the Merit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I know, of course, you think maybe they sell the horse, and there's always that opportunity. But to keep him here, I'm telling you, he's gonna rumble with the big boys this year.
Well, and we've been saying how the Maritime crop can go with anybody in the world, and so you might see that more retainership of our Atlantic sires. Instead of selling them at the end of their 3-year-old season, they might stick around and take their shot at the invitational ranks. And we'll see how he does. 4-year-old year is always a tough year, but I think he can handle it. He's a big horse.
Kudos to Delangelo, too. Paul did a great job with him in his 2- and 3-year-old campaigns.
And I will also say that the graduate series that was announced there, of course, has been made some revisions this year. So it's going to be 4-, 5-, and 6-year-olds. There's going to be a grassroots and a gold division. So great investment for the mares and also for the horses and the gelding. So we'll look forward to that. JD Marine and Diving, one of the sponsors, coming back with it, along with K's Wholesale. So, that graduate series has been tweaked. And, again, like you said, maybe that investment stays here and for a little longer while they're ready to roll. Just before this set goes, guys, I've just been notified by the Horse Owner Association. The winning 50-50 has not been claimed, so it's F1565211. That's F1565211. It's worth $315. Check your tickets.
Okay, and the horse on the rail, which is the 7 paddle, the 7 saddle pad, is Abiding Art here. That's a 2-year-old gelding by Roll With It Harry. The owners are John and Brendan Melanson of Stanley Bridge, Kenny Arsenault trains, and Greg Weatherby in the bike. They get set to go here.
Yeah, and this one was a $4,750 purchase at the Atlanta Classic sale by Roll With It Harry out of the former open mare contender Ding. And unfortunately, Roll With It Harry, no longer standing sire here, but what a footprint he has left here in the Maritime breed.
Very impressive, like you mentioned, Roll With It Harry. So 7 on the front here, 8 is sitting 2. It's early going here, and we'll see how it plays out here in set number 9.
Greg Weatherby serious on the front end here this morning with his babies.
Hey, you know
helping out Kenny Arsenault and right on the front end. This one looks to be revved up as well and under a tight line, which is nice to see.
And we connect Greg with kind of Sarah Seelster, Kurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sarah Seelster, former winner of the Governor's Plate. A real nice horse here in the Maritimes. Greg did a great job with him.
Just heading past the half here, and then just one thing that stands out to me of these two, great size. They look like aged horses.
Both of them, yeah.
Out there, really good size, and so that helps. Size matters, and especially with horses. Not always. There is a lot of nice smaller horses, but if you can get a nice big horse with a good gait, they can carry it a long way.
That helps. It's funny, I was looking up Kenny's driving stats this week as well. I always like to go back and just look at what the guys have done in their career. He's at 3,373 lifetime wins, is Kenny. His top year was 165 in 2009, up over 400,000 that year. And Kurt, I remember interviewing him on the desk here a while back, and he talked about a lot of great horses in his career. Airborne AJ was one of them that got him rolling. We had talked about the horse Meridian Magic, who had won 25 in a row, and his first win was Don Mar JJ for his relative Joey Arsenault. So again, Kenny has seen it all in the racing game.
Absolutely. Another good filly he drove for the late great Roach McGregor, Glengall Merge.
Yes,
back in the day.
Yep.
She was a really nice filly, and he did the driving on her, like you say, Airborne AJ from Jackie Arsenault's stable. And he's had quite a career.
Unreal.
I remember a nice aged horse he had back in the day. It was one of my favorites, Brand New Trooper.
Okay.
He was a nice little horse out of the Kenny Arsenault stable that raced week in, week out, and I just really like that horse.
7 and 8 there, finishing up Abiding Art and Redland Extinguisher. Both look really great here.
Look really good. Greg
Yep.
getting the job done again. Looks like Kenny's going to be shelling out the coin for coffee here
I think
this
he's got to
morning.
go through Tim Hortons after this is over.
Yeah.
Guys,
Seven.
you mentioned McGregor. We should tie in the fact that James Roach McGregor has been made the short list for the Hall of Fame, which that announcement came out just last week, and so that's exciting. And also Dr. Ian Moore and Claire McDonald on the short list. So
Canadian
exciting
Harness
times.
Racing. Yeah, Canadian Harness Racing Hall of Fame. It's exciting to think, Kurt, that all Maritimers there, and I think they got a pretty good shot this year. Actually, I mean they're in tough, but again, I think it'll be close once we see the voting.
Well-deserved recognition too. And I remember back in the day, Roach, he was the reason that Bill Robinson brought his horses here, and Native Born, Stout,
Yep.
these kind of horses that were brought here for the Gold Cup and Saucer. Roach was a major reason in those horses coming here. And I always remember the quote he gave, speaking of Glengall Merge. She won in Churro. She won a stake race, and whoever over there was, I forget the person who was interviewing him, and just mentioned about the time that she went. And Roach just turned to him and said, time only means something when you're in jail.
When you're in prison, I remember
when
that
you're
comment.
in jail, that's the only time means something. pretty funny guy.
Yeah, always
Quite
had a
the
line
character.
ready to go.
Yeah.
And
Guys,
a
our
shout out
last two announcements here for the prize winners in the sets. Peter Smith, Gerald Morrissey, that ownership team, a winner from Greenhawk, and so is Heather Sheen of Summerside. So the owners in the sets here this morning, we made draws from the special events team with the PEI Harness Racing Industry Association. Those are those winners.
Okay, final set of the day, and boy, Kurt, they got these guys ready to roll here. Susie Bird on the rail here for Mike McGuigan. They're all set to go, and always a good bet. That's Glenn Dunn for number 2. So Susie Bird, that's owned by Tom Hollis of Truro, and always a good bet owned by Heather Sheen of Summerside. And like we always say, Mike has them ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and these two are minding their manners. Look like they're scoring down like professionals. And again, Tara Myers.
Wow.
Tara Polton Myers, she's got them fired up this morning. They are right on their toes. And look at these two ready to go here.
I've been very
scoring out perfectly.
Yeah, very impressed with everybody actually on the track this morning. They all look great, but wow. They are just set to roll right from the word go.
Looks like there's going to be a bit of a speed duel here getting to the
Little
front
tussle.
end.
Yeah, little tussle early.
Looks like the two, always a good bet, and Glenn Dunn are going to head to the front. Mike's going to set up shop in the 2-hole aboard Susie Burt, 2-year-old daughter of Malicious, and was a $23,000 yearling price at the Atlantic Classic sale. And the filly is a sister to stakes winner Little Leroy.
Okay, yeah, Little Leroy did pretty good last year.
Yep,
Malicious.
absolutely.
Lifetime, Kurt, 138 starts, 29 wins, 810,000, 150-1 at Pocono, the record. And the thing about Malicious, Kurt, those horses always are gorgeous animals on the track.
He was a gorgeous animal on the track.
Yep.
Son of Better's Delight. Better's Delight. He's thrown so many great horses and thrown horses that have gone on to be great sires.
Yeah.
So Better's Delight, what a gift he has been for the breed, standardbred breed. But Malicious, they've always looked great, and they're ready to go early. They have that early speed that he had. He was a really good 2-year-old for Doc Moore, and so he's pushed that on to his babies.
Yeah, looking great on the track here. As the 1 is on front, that's Susie Burt. The 2 is always a good bet.
Yeah.
And Glenn's had the upper hand here this morning, I think, no?
Yeah, but always a good bet is by Bet the Moon, and sister to stakes winner Check Your Chip.
Yeah.
The filly sold for $5,700 at the 2023 Atlantic Classic yearling sale, but it looks like Mike's all business. He removed back to the front. Glenn is in the 2-hole, but he looks like he's giving some tippy taps, and he's ready to pounce on Mike down the lane here.
Yeah,
we'll see who gets the job done.
Yeah, we'll see who takes this here in the end.
But again, looking like they've been doing it for quite a while.
They really do. And we've mentioned this a couple of times this morning that the breed is something else here right now in Atlantic Canada. And again, it just goes to prove how far the breeding has come. They look great on the track.
Yeah, not too many go straights.
Nope.
Or spreaders or felt knee boots. Those felt knee boots are a thing of the past. With the 1 getting the job done, Susie Burt and Mike McGuigan to close up breakfast with the babies here.
Great job by everyone. We mentioned Tara, of course, getting him on the track, and great job by everybody on the track today. Horses and people. Terrific performance this morning.
So, guys, Breakfast with the Babies, another wrap. I was just talking to owner Morris Cody there, who was saying what a great day it was, and for everyone who's here, especially for the owners to come out, as you mentioned. Now, just a couple of follow-up things. As we said, grading next week. So this track is going to be shut down for 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. Hopefully you get everybody back out for Friday if everything works okay. And then we get into the qualifying sessions. Opening day is May 4th. We should be opening as well. You're going to be excited to see the O'Brien's Social Bar and Kitchen.
Yep.
That'll be launched off as well. And, make sure you make your reservations. I know some folks were disappointed. They left it a little too long. They can't get in because of the incredible amount of people that want to get here to the track. But if you can't do that, you can always join us on Race Day broadcast right through here at Redshores.ca at our world headquarters. Lee Drake, Peter McPhee, Kurt Hughes, great to have you all back again. I mean, just seemed like yesterday we were all, really ready to roll for the O'Brien Awards and the end of the season, and now, Peter, it's coming back again.
Yeah, and I want to just quickly give out the qualifying schedule for people listening. All the qualifiers will be online, so just head to Redshores.ca, hit the live video link. First one is next Saturday here in Charlottetown, 12 noon. Then Summerside on Sunday, April the 28th at 12 noon, and back here in Charlottetown, Tuesday, April 30th, 6 p.m. If you can't make it to the track, it will be streamed at Redshores.ca. Kurt, great to see you. I know we're going to be working together.
See you guys
Post-time
too.
picks.
Back at it.
We'll be back at it this year.
Yeah.
You and I are going to tackle that together.
Yeah.
And Leafs Bruins? Well, we'll
Leafs
talk
Bruins
about that
tonight.
later.
Yeah, I
We
was
may
going
not
to
be
say, like,
speaking next week.
you guys are beside each other in the desk tonight. I don't know if you're going to be speaking to each other after tonight's game or not, but anyway, I'm looking forward to just seeing the
He
game.
sends me quite the text, Lee. You got to see them. It's unreal. We'll see how this all goes.
Yeah, we'll see how the series goes. It should be very exciting anyway.
On behalf of all of us here at Red Shores, thanks for another edition of Breakfast with the Babies.